All right. Welcome back to the Positive Deposit Podcast, where we transform minds to change lives. I am your host, Presley Nelson Jr., and I'm so excited today, not only because we are in National Cancer Survivors Month, but I got a special guest. He's a fellow Bison. And, one thing is that the reason why we have the podcast is to allow cancer survivors such as myself and others share their journey, share the positive things that they accomplish throughout their journey, just to inspire other cancer survivors or people that recently got diagnosed. So they have that inspiration and same hope that we have. I have Craig Johnson, Bison, St. Jude. You see the background. You see what's going on. Before we start, any words that you like to say before we, get right into it?
Like I told you, man, earlier, just thank you for this opportunity. Thankful to be here. And this is something that I want to do in general. The movement that you're on is something that I live by. Um, Positive deposits into the world.
Hey,
That's
see?
yeah. You can't make it in this world if you don't have positivity. I'm a huge believer in having that energy around you and speaking into existence. So it's a great opportunity, man. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure, man. You were highly recommended to be on this show. So, I'm honored as well because I was just reading some of your story, man. I know you probably looked at mine, but you quite amazing, man. And so we're just gonna jump right into it. I want to just ask you, man, like there's always the awarenesses of like breast cancer, prostate, but you don't really hear too much about, childhood cancer awareness. Why is
Yeah.
it important that that awareness has the same highlight as, breast cancer or prostate?
Um, well, I don't know if I'm a little biased, but at the same time, it's something that I feel is very true. Working with St. Jude and having been a patient at St. Jude, the founder, Danny Thomas, one of his famous sayings in the saying for the hospital is, a child shouldn't die in the dawn of life. So
Mm,
in other words, people, we are adults, everyone that's we've grown up, but we're shaped by our childhood. And
yeah.
if a child doesn't have that opportunity to live where we are, it's tough. So as much as we can do to spread the awareness, get people to donate and be a part of even just volunteering any way, any shape or form, that's adding a positive deposit into someone else's life. And yeah,
You
so
trying to get a job, man? You trying to
oh,
come on? Cause I feel the energy. We're gonna have to talk after this, but I'm feeling the energy. But I mean, it's important, like and so that kind of segues into tell us about your journey, man, because you were probably what 14, 15
yeah,
when this all
15, just turned
transpired. Tell us
15.
about your journey, and what happened.
Okay, well, I'm a guy. I played sports my whole life. I could probably remember playing sports probably around 3 or 4 years old, starting with t-ball and soccer.
Okay.
Played a little football, basketball, everything. So I've been playing sports probably my whole life.
Jack of all trades, I see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you know what I'm saying. So around high school, they basically get you on the track to figure out what you want to like what you gonna focus on. And growing up in
Right.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, being a African American male, my parents are both African Americans. My great grandfather, he's Senegalese, but that's kind of the closest foreign ancestor that I know. So
Right.
soccer isn't big in my family. It's obviously not big in Louisiana, but that's my love. That's one of my true loves and passions. So once I got to high school, I made the decision to focus on soccer and focus on baseball instead of basketball and football, just because I like to be different. It was what
Yeah.
I was used to anyway, and so did very well my freshman year in high school playing soccer. Was the only freshman to start varsity, um, and I played soccer year round around that time. So basically, like my AAU soccer team, we had a rec team in the summer, and during that practice, one of my teammates, who was actually a cousin of mine, he knocked me down. Uh,
Mm,
but the fortitude that I have, like I've always been a older soul. So I was one of the youngest on that team, but I was the captain. So for me, it
Right.
was like, I'm gonna lead by example. He knocked me down. I'm gonna continue through practice, like everything is normal.
Now,
Um,
was that knockdown like on some, like, cousin? I know you under me,
a
but
little bit, a little
okay,
bit, just a
okay,
little bit.
okay,
That's my older cousin, but to this day, like we still tight. He a twin, so
okay,
it's always been us trio. Like that's who I started playing soccer with, him and
yeah,
his brother. So and his older brother played with my older siblings. So it's really been a family thing with the
okay.
soccer connection. So but he knocked me down. I shook it off. He actually knocked me down. It was a get back knockdown. To be honest with you,
See, I
I got
told
it.
you, I told you.
It was a get back one for sure. But so he knocked me down. I shook it off. But I just felt like weird after practice, like the adrenaline like laid off. And something just didn't feel right. So our coach took us home, and I was laying on the couch. Mom was like, "You're probably just a little out of shape, son. Just
Yeah,
go soak." I'm the youngest of six, and like I said, all my
big
siblings play.
family.
Yeah, so she used to it. That's how she raised us. It was tough love, but at the same time, she was very nurturing. So she just like, go soak, you'll be all right. So I went to go get in the tub, and I looked down and I noticed that I had a knot the size of like a plum,
Ooh,
this big inside, like between my abdomen and like my lower stomach region. So yeah, once I saw that, I almost fainted for real. Like, it's something that you wouldn't, and that's too close to the important stuff. So I definitely was extremely scared. Screamed for my mom. And from playing sports, I probably had a sports hernia, but every time I went to the doctor, um, it never stayed down for them to actually examine it and give me the surgery that I needed properly. So it would
right.
always take like me getting knocked down a hard hit for my stomach to hurt, but it would never stay down long enough for them to actually give me the true
Yeah.
diagnosis that I needed. So this one time, thankfully it actually stayed down. My doctor, who was a friend of the family, told my mom to we iced it that night. He'd see me in the morning. So from that, we went to the doctor that morning, confirmed it was a sports hernia, went to the general surgeon, who my grandfather, his birthday was August 27th, which was the day that I went to the doctor and the general surgeon. He was celebrating 5 years of being cancer free. He had
What kind of
colon
cancer did he
cancer.
have?
He had colon cancer.
Colon.
Yes, sir. So it's we didn't even really get to celebrate his birthday because we all trying to figure out what was going on with me. So I was in the hospital that day, but I was at the general surgeon. I'm laying down on the examining table, and it was struggling to breathe. Like I really
Oh,
couldn't breathe. It was hurting. It was painful, and those are two different regions of the body: your abdomen and your intestines. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with your lungs or your upper body
exactly.
type of area. So he ran an ultrasound up my side, and he saw my spleen was swollen and it was slightly torn.
Ooh.
So from there, I was rushed
What?
to
How
my.
did you feel when you heard that news? Like, your
Oh
spleen, like,
man,
you know what I mean? Like,
when I heard that, it was it's the athlete in me. So immediately I'm thinking like, oh man, all right, how I'm gonna recover so I can get back to this? Cause and my thinking is our summer season is about over. We was towards the end of the season. This is late August. So school soccer, we're about to start training for that like in the upcoming weeks. So I'm thinking, and like I told you, I was the only freshman to start varsity. And I was one of the players to watch in the city, like because sophomore on a team that's pretty good in the city at McKinley High School. At the time, we were very good, one of the best teams in the city. So for me to be that young and actually be, vital on that team, it was a blow to everyone. So I'm thinking like, all right, I'm just gonna be able to be out a couple weeks maybe and be
right,
back
right.
into it. So yeah, they got me to the hospital that day for a blood transfusion because they're thinking hopefully the spleen will heal on its own from this blood transfusion, especially since it's slightly torn. And if it's
Wow.
really torn, the blood is going to continue to leak.
Yeah.
So they did the blood transfusion. The first one, started to take good, and then the second one looked really good. So my doctors and my parents, they were having a conversation like the morning of the 28th, so the day after my grandfather's birthday. And meanwhile, I still had this sports hernia, so I couldn't walk around or anything.
Right.
So they're talking, a nurse walking by, randomly hearing that conversation, did a random blood culture, and I was hearing the conversation between them in my sleep. Like, this is early in the morning, maybe like 4 or 5 in the morning, and they talking, everything is sounding like it's on the up and up. I'm gonna be good, and a few hours later, my mom was at work. It was just my grandfather at the hospital with me. The St. Jude has an affiliate clinic in Baton Rouge, and the head of that affiliate clinic was Dr. Sheila Moore. She came into my to my room at that time, and she was like, is my mom here? She needed to talk to her. I was like, no, she was at work. And
right.
She was like, she was going to give her a call and everything. And, from then I kind of knew something was up. So I asked her, how long does she think I'm going to be out with the spleen? She was like, she's not sure. But once my mom gets back, she'll have more information for me. And my mom got back. Next thing you know, they let me know I had cancer, leukemia. 27% of my blood cells were cancerous. I had a PSP. I remember this like it was yesterday. I had a PSP, and Hurricane Gustav was about to hit Baton Rouge the very next day. And so we had to rush out of Baton Rouge. But I remember when they told me I was playing NBA 2K Live.
Okay, yeah. I'm a gamer too. I respect it.
So, and the irony of it is I was playing with the Memphis Grizzlies at the time. And ironically enough, that's why I ended up coming 2 days later, being here.
So when you said that 27%, how is there leukemia? Does it have stages? Is it what is 27%? For those that won't know what that is, is it good? Is it bad? Is it too much?
Started early, thankfully. But at the same time, more than likely, I was about to start getting sick soon. Just from the things that led up to it. Me being healthy, I've always been one of my mom's healthiest kids. Like, I never really got sick growing up. Always ate like salads and stuff. Like, even if we went to McDonald's, I'm gonna order a side salad and maybe like 6 nuggets instead of something like,
So you're making your own chicken Caesar salad at McDonald's. That's what you're doing.
at like 9, 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? So that was always kind of like my mentality. So for me to be knocked down at practice and be hurt, that was kind of weird. But then the next day, finding out my spleen was swollen and actually torn, those are signs of my body is trying to fight something off. So thankful, like I'm so thankful for my cousin for knocking me out.
Wasn't it a blessing? Wasn't it a blessing that random nurse kind of overheard and said, you know what, I'm gonna do something right. You know what I mean? That don't sound right. And sometimes we don't have those guardian angels, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They could have just sent you home and it's just a sports hernia, but God was watching over you, man. I don't know whoever that nurse is. I don't know if you ever met her, but that was your guardian angel, man, because she
never got to meet her.
Blood culture,
Yes, like seriously, because preliminary they were telling me I was gonna be out for like 8 weeks max, and so that was the first time I cried. That was before I even got diagnosed. Yeah. So when they diagnosed me, I was kind of, I think I was kind of like numb to it, because in my mind I'm still thinking 8 weeks and not necessarily thinking like, no, my man, you got cancer. Like, you about to, your life is about to change drastically. And even still to this day, it don't necessarily hit me all the way. Like, I'm so thankful to be alive, but it's still like, man, I can't believe, I've been blessed to make it thus far,
Yeah. So, you got the diagnosis, right? You talk about St. Jude's, right? So they got the world-class treatment, so tell us what that world-class treatment is, because when I was going through, I was at Providence Hospital, right? Down there in Brooklyn, You know, little
Okay.
small room, you know, not as comfy as Kaiser. I should have switched insurances, but I didn't know. But what is that world-class treatment like? Do they have a red carpet for you when you come in? Like,
If
what is that?
it feel
You
like
know, how
it,
was it
it
like
definitely feels
going
like it.
there? Talk.
Um, well, speaking of guardian angels, man, I would be remiss if I don't talk about my siblings. All of my siblings, man, I love them so much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
Yeah,
Um,
that
but
support
at the
network.
time, yeah, that family in general, but especially my siblings, like we were all so tight. But at the time, my only sister, she was working at Delta.
Okay.
And like I told you, well, Delta and St. Jude at the time had a partnership. So, but those that don't know, families don't pay for anything. So when I'm talking about that red carpet treatment, that's what it feels like. So travel, transportation, me flying from Baton Rouge to Memphis, that's
Wow.
my mom doesn't have to pay for that. It's not on any of my family. It's not insurance, none of that. It's St. Jude takes care of that. When I stayed here, I stayed at the Ronald McDonald House when I was actually released from the hospital and doing my protocol here. So I stayed at the Ronald McDonald House. That's free. Wasn't
Wow.
on my family.
Wow.
3 meals a day.
Now,
St.
was it
Jude.
like the lunch meals like out the caf at Howard, or it's
Uh,
like
well, I mean, our calf. Some days is good, some days is not. But see, at St. Jude, anytime someone asks me about like my favorite place, the cafeteria. Variety
okay,
of foods, and I mean fresh, quality foods. And because the protocols, when you first start, I mean the chemotherapy tears down, your immune system. So you
yeah,
can't eat anything that hasn't been cooked
right,
more than an hour. So if
right,
it's
right.
sat out an hour or longer, you can't eat that. So fresh food all the time. And if you're a patient or a patient family member, they make it, whatever you want.
Let me ask you though, before you continue, do you have to have a certain insurance? You know, did you have to have insurance, or like say for example, you don't have insurance, would St. Jude's take you still? You know, if they or is it a referral program? Like
It
is it
is a referral program,
okay?
but also the families that are referred here, a lot of them are drastic situations, crazy cases. If you don't have a local cancer hospital, because the great thing about St. Jude is they share their research. So,
Okay.
you don't necessarily have to be treated here to get the same kind of treatment here.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Awesome.
but yes, it's second to none treatment, and I mean it all starts from the founders.
Yeah.
They truly believe in
Now,
no child should die.
your treatment obviously involved chemotherapy. Um, what were your side effects with the type of chemotherapy you got for your diagnosis?
Some of the main side effects is insomnia. Sometimes I struggle with eating, and
Okay.
also AVN was something that I had. I forgot how
You
to
said AVN?
AVN. I forgot how to properly pronounce it, but I'm gonna try it. It's uh, avascular necrosis. But
Okay.
basically, it's the chemotherapy and the steroids, they weaken your joints. So like
Mm,
knees, elbows, ankles, wrists, things like that. So you're more susceptible to bone breaks or having
wow.
pain. So that was something that affected me early on, but thankfully we caught that early. And
Okay.
I think that's just because me being an athlete, like
Yeah.
recognizing things in my body, even though very early on I still couldn't. Once me being diagnosed and knowing that I had cancer, I couldn't get the hernia fixed. So
Oh, wow.
it basically had to heal on its own to a certain extent, but it obviously had to get surgically fixed, and it wasn't able to do that until my body showed no cancer in the blood. So that I didn't have that surgery until the summer after I was diagnosed. So like summer 2009.
So
So
so those are some of the side effects. While you were at the hospital, did they have like any other little programs and things of that nature to keep you busy, or was it just, hey, here's your food, we'll check up on
oh
you?
no,
Talk about the other parts, because I already the
definitely.
flight benefits, You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh man.
Family, like what other perks, you
This
know?
my mom calls St. Jude the Disneyland for sick kids. And she calls it that.
No.
You know, if somebody hearing that and pass would be like, what? But it's a place, and you could kind of understand this because you are Howard Bison. You know,
Yeah.
it's a spiritual connection when you come to that campus.
It's that when you walk on campus, you feel that energy.
Yes.
So like at St.
Yes.
Jude's, it's the same. That it's a different feel of
It's a different
level
feel.
of treatment and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I mean, it speaks to the history of the hospital. I mean, being founded, it has the first sickle cell grant. It was founded because it's the first integrated hospital in the South. Literally,
Oh, wow.
that was Danny Thomas's dream. You know, to no child should die in the dawn of life.
Man, shout out to Danny Thompson.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what color they are. He died with an article of a child, a black child who passed away from a bike injury, if I'm not mistaken, and he couldn't get those injuries fixed because he was black. And that was one of the things that inspired Danny Thomas to open this hospital here in Memphis in the South. And so once you come to campus and you feel that and you see it, it's nurses, it's the cafeteria workers. Everyone has a smile on their face. Everyone that greets you literally from the airport. You know, they get your itinerary and they know that, you know, you're a first time patient here. So I remember, like I said, thankfully my siblings, so my brother, my brother C happened to meet us here, me and my mom at the airport here. He rode with us to the hospital. They admitted us in. They stayed with me while I was inpatient at the hospital, and they went with me to the Ronald McDonald House when I moved there. But
Yeah.
the nurses were the best nurses in the world. Once I was able to actually interact at the hospital, they had something. I was a teenager when I was diagnosed, so they have something called a teen room. They had Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 at the time was the hottest gaming system.
So
And
you
they
was in
also
heaven.
had Wii. So
You
they
was in
had
heaven.
that. Yeah, so it's everything that you can imagine while you're going through the storm of your life.
Yeah.
You know, they do everything to make it to ease that pain of not only the patient but also the family as well.
Amen.
So I can
Amen.
even remember like for spinal taps, you know, the anesthesia, obviously for adults, they don't get anesthesia for spinal taps. They have to go through that pain. They try to alleviate that for their patients. Doing MRIs, being able to watch a movie while I'm getting a scan or something, or being able to listen to music while I'm getting scanned.
Yo, that's lit, man. I wish I would be able to watch a movie while you get an MRI, man. Like that's next level.
I was able to watch Like Mike.
See, that's so now I see why you said that was world-class treatment. Now we're gonna switch gears, right? Because you know you had your experience at St. Jude's, but they helped you actually graduate high school early, and then you come to become a Bison, right?
Yes, sir.
So talk to us about you know juggling classes, but then you got to go to Howard Hospital for treatment.
Well, I think that kind of energy is instilled in me. Like I said, the youngest of 6. 3 out of my older siblings graduated high school early, so I just wanted to fall in line. Well, I kind of had to fall in line. My mom graduated high school early as well, so it was kind of like family tradition. And like I said, tough love. Knowing I couldn't play sports at the time, she didn't want me to just get sucked into the TV and video game world, which is something that's, you know, going to be natural. Just growing up in, you know, in our era. But at the same time, she was a stickler about me being on school. Her famous saying is, academics comes before athletics in the dictionary and in my house, which, you know, that is very true.
Your mom dropping them quotables. Okay.
Yeah, so definitely have
I got to teach my daughter that, you know, if she becomes, you know what I mean, athlete, academics comes before athleticism in the dictionary. Okay.
Yes, sir. You know, she says that according to her and Webster, so you know it got to be true. That's what she says.
So the transition wasn't hard then, you know, you were just continue your treatment. Now, was Howard, now I'm not trying to, you know, tear down our alma mater, but I'm sure Howard Hospital was not as world class as St. Jude's. Did you feel a way a
It's
little bit?
not the same. It's not the same at all. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I knew what I was coming to, uh, going into the situation.
Okay.
So, like I said, we didn't have to pay for any of my treatments. So during the St. Jude schooling program, I got a 29 on my ACT, 1400 on my SAT. So I was able to get into every school that I applied to, from Duke to Harvard to Baylor, FAM, Morehouse. Um, so when I was doing my tours, I wanted to go to a place that, one, my mom didn't know this at the time, but I wanted to play soccer. Like, I knew that was a dream in the far, far back of my mind, like being able to play soccer, but also being a place where a hospital wasn't too far from campus.
Yeah.
Um, Howard had everything I wanted. I've always been a person that loves our people, loves African American culture, and wanted to be surrounded by it. And my siblings went to HBCUs. My mom is a product of HBCU, so
Yeah.
I know and knew what HBCUs could do for a young African American male. So going to Howard, meeting the people, seeing the beautiful soccer field, and then meeting Dr. Rana at Howard University Hospital. He's a pediatrician there, and we hit it off. That's like my uncle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not St. Jude, but I felt the love that I felt in Memphis, because I went there twice a week. So I got my blood drawn on Wednesdays, and I received chemotherapy on Thursdays. So on
Okay.
Wednesdays they would take my blood in the at the time I was 17, so I was actually going to the pediatrician office at the Howard University Hospital. So it's
Wow.
Dr. Ryan and Dr. Forrester's. I was in their office, so being surrounded by little kids. So I still kind of felt like I was at St. Jude a little bit.
Okay. You still had a good
Yeah.
memory. You
Um,
talked about you got to reconnect with your first love, soccer, and even go globally. How was that, man? Like that opportunity to go to be on a team your senior year and then go global.
it's honestly, man, it's all blessings. That's the only thing that I can describe it, and it's my love, because I truly feel like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, after finding out I was diagnosed with cancer, I mean, I worked my tail off to play my senior year in high school. Did that, made the team. Actually, ended up playing varsity a couple games at the end of the year. We made it to the playoffs. Um, so I knew I could still play,
Yeah.
but the NCAA, obviously, me still being on treatment and whatnot, it
Yeah.
was gonna be a tough ride getting that medical clearance.
Right. Right.
So fast forward a little bit, I came into Howard bio major pre-med, and I wanted to be a pediatrician in oncology to help kids
Yeah.
like myself.
That's dope.
And I randomly took a early childhood class.
Mm-hmm.
And from that class, I fell in love with education. In the next semester, I met my mentor, Dr. Jackson, and he kind of took me under my wing, and I eventually switched to the education field. But to graduate, one of the prerequisites was, you got to take a PE class. So just
Soccer.
lo and behold, I took soccer, right? I'm thinking like, so mind you, I had played soccer maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe. But I'm like, I'm gonna take this class. It's like riding a bike. Who knows?
Right. Right.
Literally scored a goal, at least one goal every day in class. So around the final, like I didn't have to take the final or anything. So
Because you were that
he was
nice.
like,
It just
yeah,
came
he was like,
like riding a
look,
bike. Just
he put me to the side. He was like, are you on the soccer team? I'm like, no. He was like, well, why not? I was like, I didn't necessarily tell people besides like my small circle that I was a cancer survivor, because I didn't understand the power of my voice.
yeah.
Kind of matriculating through Howard until probably junior year. But just that conversation with him led me to trying out for the Howard men's soccer team when they had a coaching change, and he had open trials, made the team, And from that, I just stayed driven to continue to play soccer. Played in the adult league in DC, did well. Played in one in Houston, ended up finishing second place in that league in Houston. And I was driven to try out for AX Soccer Tours in Charlotte in the fall of 2017. Did well there. Spring 2018, had the opportunity to try out for a pro soccer consulting company in Houston. Did well there. They invited me to Latvia, Europe. I tried out for a few teams out there, and I did great. My coaches, they spoke high praise of me, man, and it was a dream come true, a true blessing. And it's something that continues to drive me to this day. Unfortunately, I tore a muscle in my hamstring early 2019, so I was on the road to recovery. It's ironic I have these slight tears, so it was a slight tear, so it wasn't able to be surgically prepared. So I really just had to do PT, a lot of physical therapy, and strength training. And thankfully now I'm 100% healthy, and I've moved to Memphis. And yeah, still maintaining that focus and maintaining that dream.
That's awesome, man. So now you're back where they took care of you, and now you work for them. You know, um, in your position of marketing and being a communication specialist, how are you able to, impact the communities? And where are you at? You're in Tennessee?
Yes, sir. I'm in.
How are you able to connect?
Right around the corner.
Oh, okay. How are you able to, help those the communities around you, or like, does what parts of your job allows you to, give back?
Well, thankfully, the organization that I work for, ALSAC, which is the nonprofit sector of St. Jude, they have allowed me in my specialist role to kind of craft out and mold a way to even better impact the communities around us and spread our message. So right now we're working on bringing St. Jude and ALSAC these opportunities to HBCUs. We're going to try it out in Atlanta very soon, but that's something that I helped create and birth. And I've been here, I started in August, so I'm celebrating 10 months here, and I'm just thankful to see like me speaking up on behalf of HBCUs. And like you and I talked about early, our community doesn't necessarily know about childhood cancer and how it affects us,
Yeah, man.
And so a place like St. Jude is a place, obviously, that was, originated for us and everyone. So to hear that it's still doing it today, I have a lot of pride in the job that I do. And so I just want to continue to bring awareness and speaking at many at many events as possible. Take opportunities like this to use my voice and spread joy and positivity. And if I could do it with St. Jude behind me, it makes me a little bit happier.
Well, man, like that's dope, man. That because it takes trailblazers like you to do that and speak up and show organizations like St. Jude's and any organization to challenge them and think outside the box of how they can make an impact. So, here at Positive Deposits, you see the tagline, transforming minds to change lives. If you had to give 3 positive deposits, to inspire anyone that's going through childhood cancer, what would that be, man? What are 3 things that you would give as positive deposits to help inspire them and give them hope?
Man, geez, this is kind of tough. I wasn't expecting this. For sure not. I guess the first thing for me is having a positive circle. Surrounding yourself in positivity. And I think that's all anchored in love.
Yeah.
So whether it's your friends, your family, associates, I feel like if you have even an inkling of love in your heart, you're gonna have positivity around you. You're gonna be able to spread that to everyone that you come in contact with. So even if someone views you as a stranger, they can see it. It glows off of you. You know what I'm saying? So I think definitely maintaining positivity is something that helped me come to where I am.
Yeah.
You know, uh, number two is to have faith.
Hey,
Having faith in
God.
something, yeah, faith in something bigger than yourself. Um, I'm a Christian myself, so I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in
Yes, sir.
God Himself. God Almighty. But I have a lot of friends that are Muslim, um, and practice other religions. But if you have faith in something bigger than yourself, from the religions that I know, all of them are kind of anchored in what I just said: love and
Yep.
peace, and bigger than something but bigger than themselves. So if you can do that, then you can't be out here causing hurt in the world, because that's not going to lead to anything in the afterlife. You know,
Exactly.
so
Amen, man.
having some kind of faith in something bigger than yourself, and with having that faith, acting upon the things that are scary. So faith and fear to me kind of go hand in hand. So even the things that you're kind of fearful of, have faith that you could do it. Me personally,
Yeah, you preaching right now. I see
I
you.
had to
You
go to
preaching.
Europe. I knew I could play soccer. I knew I had the support system and the family around me that they're gonna boost you. They're gonna tell you that you're good.
Right.
I had to have the faith to go to Europe, and it's scary. Latvia is not like it's. I saw 5 black people the whole time I was there, outside of the people that was in like the few black people that was playing soccer with me. I
Right.
saw 5 people, and I was there for almost a month.
Right.
So
Right.
it was a culture shock, obviously, but still having the faith that I could do what I had to do and eat, face that fear in the face and go do what I had to do. And, it worked out perfectly for me. Even going to Howard, Baton Rouge is way far from DC. So
Yeah.
walking hand in hand, faith and fear.
What's that last one for us? What's that last one? And if it's just 2, it's okay. I always give people like, 3 is like that Trinity. You know what I
Just do
mean?
what make
So
you happy.
it would make you happy. Exactly.
Yeah, do what makes you happy. Happy, it all coincides. It's a big circle. Happiness, faith, fear, love. You gotta have those things in order for you to kind of to know that you're human. If you don't, a lot of the things that we love, we have moments of fear with them. You don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
Things like that. But you gotta have faith to even reach that step of loving somebody. So I think they all kind of work hand in hand. Just for myself, not just Europe, going to Howard, I was blessed to receive a letter from President and Michelle Obama upon graduating.
Oh, I thought you about to say Trump, man. I'm like, whoa, 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 now.
Oh no, no, I say president. I ain't
See, there
say
you
other
go. Okay, say
President
less.
Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama upon
Wow.
graduating in 2016, and
Yeah.
just kind of congratulating me on pushing through that journey of being a freshman in a totally different city, far, far away from family. I had my clique, but that's it. But still pushing through, maintaining, changing my major, playing soccer and all that to graduate. That's
Yeah.
still one of the highlights of my life, obviously. But that's something that drives me when I'm having those scary moments.
Yeah.
Because in 2010, I would have never thought of having any kind of contact with any
Yeah.
Obama. So to get
Yeah.
it from those two, it's like you gotta act on that. You gotta act on that faith. And you gotta
Yeah.
act on that fear.
Well, yo, Craig, man, it's just an honor, man. Like I was already hyped when I read your bio, but just talking with you, man, like is just a blessing, man. And that's a survivor to a survivor. So you already part of the Howard Heroes family here at Positive Deposits already. Where can we find you? What tags? Where can we find you if folks want to get more information about St. Jude's or anything? Tell us where we can follow you and
Okay.
whatnot.
My Instagram is the Craig Johnson. Um, You can email me at craig.johnson@stjude.org. If you want to
Okay.
know more information about St. Jude in general, you can just go to stjude.org. Just a plug right quick. I want everybody that's tuning into this, I'm sure this is going to be afterwards. So even if it's just y'all two, just
Yeah.
spread the word. St. Jude is hosting live stream, on our Facebook channel and our YouTube channel this Thursday at 5 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken.
You guys got a flyer or something that you can send
It's
me?
it's on my Instagram.
Okay, I'll definitely repost it through Positive Deposits. And yeah, man, so that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'll definitely send that to you. And this is one of our first it's a African American focused live stream. So it's gospel, R&B, and comedy. We're gonna have Ricky Smiley on there. It's one of the special entertainers, but that's the only one that I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you Major. The artist Major as well is gonna be there. But I'm gonna let you tune in and see some of the other folks that we got lined up. Yeah, so you can tune in, support that. Please do.
No question. So I'm gonna definitely plug that. So if you guys are tuning in and things of that nature, we got Craig Johnson, the man with the plan. Howard Bison. Man, just a pleasure. And if you didn't catch this, you can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on all the most popular streaming platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And if you want to follow us here at Positive Deposits, our Instagram is at Positive Deposits INC_. We have a Facebook live page, and also too, I want you next Monday, and you probably saw it, to tune into that conversation about racism. We had another cancer survivor who's from Canada who is we're gonna have that conversation, because it's just necessary for the culture, and why not have it between two cancer survivors about what's going on. We are only here to transform minds, to change lives. So thank you, Craig, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Take it easy,
man.
man.
No problem.